things we don't solve, many things we don't love. Sitting the be like highway.
Here we are. Norman Clement.
A trying day today.
Uh-oh. So behind me, I live on Chapel Street, people, and so behind me is actually the what I found out is the original Black Panther Party chapter headquarters in New Haven for the New Haven
No,
chapter.
that's not true.
Not on
That
Orchard Street.
that house on Orchard Street was the safe
Yeah.
house. That was the safe. Yeah. Their office was on Davenport Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah. It's no longer there. The building is torn down, and there's an apartment building there now. But yeah, the one on Orchard Street, that's where they held Alex Rackley in the basement.
Okay. And who was Alex? Who was Alex Rackley?
Alex Rackley was a member of the New Haven branch of the Black Panther Party, who was suspected of being an informant.
So there was a lot of like they don't talk about how the COINTELPRO and everything, how the government literally tried to just demonize and destroy the Black Panther Party from within, and that also happened here in New Haven.
Yes, it did. And Alex Rackley ended up dying because of that. COINTELPRO.
Oh man.
Yeah, he was killed by party members because they thought he was an informant. They held him in the basement of that building and tortured him, and then took him out to a lake in Middletown and shot him in the back of the head.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
And this
here's
was
the
during
interesting part. Here's the interesting
Right.
part of that is
right.
one of the other members was there was Mark Allen. Okay, Mark Allen. I think it was Mark Allen or Mark Clark. Mark Clark. Yeah, Mark Clark was also a second to Fred Hampton in Chicago. He was the informant. He was working with
Wow.
Yeah. So he's the one that said Alex Rackley was. So, yeah.
Wow. And how many and how long was the New Haven chapter there before?
New Haven chapter started like shortly after the riots that happened across the country when the Watts riot happened and cities were burned down, like 100 cities were set on fire. Watts was set on fire. New Haven was all of Congress Avenue was burned down pretty much. So that was 66, 67, somewhere around there. So shortly after that, the Black Panther Party was formed in New Haven. 68, I think.
Yeah, and what was we talk about a lot of the great programs the Black Panther Party has done, especially like the WIC program. There's a sickle cell disease treatment on the same block that I live on, which is right around the corner from where Black Panther Party owned that building. And what were things that were unique to New Haven, if you know that the Black Panther Party have done, and also the accomplishments in New Haven that they have done, because they were very, very popular here too.
Yeah. I think the breakfast program was started here, or at least it was brought here in that time. So they fed kids before they went to school, and I think there was upwards of 800 kids they fed in New Haven, something like that. That was I think that was brought here by Erica Huggins. Um, when she was here, became a member. Um,
Mm.
yeah. So yeah, and you know, the trial of Bobby Seale in May 1970, a May Day.
Hmm.
Um, that's they tried
Right on
to
May Day.
yeah they tried to uh, they were trying to railroad Bobby Seale and Erica Huggins because they were like leaders of the party. Although neither one of them was here when Alex Rackley was killed. So,
Right.
but they implicated them in that, and you know that was they were trying to railroad him. You know?
Mm-mm. And this probably was a very, very big what was like one of the Fed's biggest cases to try and demonize the Black Panther Party because they had uh sales on the conviction as well, not the conviction but on the charge as well too. And there's the photo I showed here. Let's see, get the photo back up. It's
Mhm.
just how large the support was.
Yeah.
um were you there that day?
No, actually, I wasn't there that day. I was in California at the time, so but I came back
Yeah, that's
shortly
right.
after. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I have a good amount of photos here. So
Yeah.
of and they were so the feds weren't able to fully convict them or get a conviction because they were innocent and they didn't charge the actual Black Panther members that actually did the crime, right?
Well, they did. Yeah, William Kimbo went to jail for.
Okay.
I don't know what the charge was, like um, attempted murder or something, but he went to jail, and I think another person went to jail. But Bobby Seale, Erica Huggins, the leaders were acquitted. Um, One of the things that was interesting that it took, in order to get a jury pool, they had to interview over 1,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah, because there was like so much prejudice against the Black Panthers. Uh,
Mm.
that they had to dismiss all these people because they were racist. So, uh, yeah,
Wow.
that's New Haven.
And that's
Back
the North.
huh? Back at
That's the
that time,
North.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, that just gives me so much like hearing about how New Haven is modernly, like, is that prejudice still here so strongly now as well too, even with majority of citizens now being people of color.
Hmm.
And it definitely is.
Yeah, hasn't changed much. Even now, when black and brown people go to jail or go to trial, um, most of the jurors are white. You know,
Hmm.
you know, you were involved, and I was involved in defending J.O. Richardson when he went to trial, and he had two black jurors on there. Um, that's the reason why he got acquitted. So because of those two.
Right. And after this whole trial happened, what became of the Black Panther Party chapter? Were they able to move on for a few more years?
Yeah, they did function for a little while after that. Not in a capacity because the crackdown, the
Right.
COINTELPRO was really at full force around that time, in
Right.
1970, and that um, Fred Hampton got murdered. Uh, Bobby Seale was on trial. Huey was in jail. So it didn't last much longer. Some other people will tell you different, and they probably, even Black Panthers will say it lasted into the late 70s, but not as it was, not as powerful as it was. earlier on.
Yeah.
You know,
And we had a New Havener here as well too, who unfortunately passed away I believe during COVID. When he passed away, he was also a part of figuring out that there was an FBI operation, the COINTELPRO, who was
right?
also a Black Panther member.
George Edwards, yeah. George Edwards worked for the telephone company at the time, and he was on the job one day and noticed some wires that were hooked up to a different, they shouldn't have been there or whatever. Um, and it turns out that J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI were tapping into phones in Oakland from New Haven. So George exposed that, and that was like the beginning of the people learning about the COINTELPRO.
And this J. Edgar Hoover, he had a strong vendetta after the Black Panther Party because he was afraid of quote unquote what the feds called the Black Messiah, right?
Yeah, Black Unity. Well, what really got he called them the most dangerous organization in the world, or in America at least. Um, and
Interesting when the mob was literally at its height around this time.
right, right, yeah, and one of the reasons why he did that was because Fred Hampton was organizing the Rainbow Coalition, which was a coalition between blacks, whites, Hispanics, Native Americans. He was getting people together, diverse, like from different cultures, different aspects of, you know, so Hoover seen that as a real threat, which it would have been, it would have been a real threat if everybody started working together, obviously.
Right.
So yeah, so that's why they started attacking Panthers all over the country. I remember I was in L.A. Well, not in L.A. I was outside of L.A. when they attacked the office in L.A. and they had a shootout there for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
With thousands of bullets being fired into the L.A. office. Yeah.
Jesus.
That was
Just
happening like everywhere around the country. They were busting up Black Panther parties, branches.
state sanctioned eradication.
Yeah.
Has any I no law enforcement or any anybody that participated, I bet you, has not even been held accountable to this day for doing that.
No.
Because that's literally state sanctioned domestic terrorists.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Fred Hampton was killed in his bed next to his pregnant wife. No one ever paid for that.
Yeah. And Fred Hampton apparently still pays for it to this day because cops still go and shoot bullet holes at the at his gravesite.
Gravesite, yeah. His headstone. Yeah.
So petty. It's interesting how these colonizers just never forget. You see it
right?
here domestically, and then you see it abroad as well too. they just hold grudges.
Look at what they do in Haiti. Look at what they do in Haiti. Just because those people, they wanted to be free. Haiti has been under oppression, the most oppressive conditions you could possibly think of for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still giving up sanctions, and still not sanctions, still giving up reparations and everything.
Yeah, they're paying France reparations for what they did, what France did to them.
Yeah,
it's
crazy,
insane.
And when we look at the story of the Black Panthers, it like I said earlier before, they were a very strong force to be reckoning because they were bringing in a possible socialist revolution to this
Mhm.
country.
Yeah.
They were actually doing it, and they showed this with the programs, and they showed this with not only being very strong and unifying here domestically, but they also showed it with unifying here abroad, with putting people onto the imperialist wars that are happening, educating them and understanding the importance of solidarity, working class people. It was very, very dangerous group that just literally sprung out of nowhere, because what they only lasted for like what, less than 15 years, probably 10
Oh yeah.
in their
Yeah.
height.
If that. Yeah. Yeah.
What an impact.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still impacting people today, right? People
Right.
still wear Black Panther shirts. They still talk about the breakfast program. Um, yeah, well, the Panthers, they visited, they visited China, talked to Mao. They visited Palestine. They went to Algiers when Algiers was having their revolution, or shortly after. The Algerian government, um, uh, when some people were on the run, they went to Algiers. The Algerian government, um, kept them safe there because there was no extradition back to the United States.
Right.
Yeah, so
They
and
still
they
with
learned.
Vietnam.
Yeah, and they learned every time they went somewhere. They learned too, you know, what a revolution looks like, what it would take. Um, talked to all the
Right.
leaders um, and brought that back here. So um, this government was deathly afraid of them. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely. And it's crazy
especially
how.
about especially
Yep.
how fast they were developing too.
Right.
Like Black Panther Party took off. It was Oakland, then L.A., and then it just like wildfire caught a hold all the way across the country. You know,
Yep.
that's what happens. That's what happens when you tell people the truth.
Right.
You know, people can recognize the truth.
Yeah, people can definitely recognize the truth. And you see that now in the reflection of today, of how the Black Panther Party, will always keep a mark, not only here in the streets, but in our government, with WIC programs and kids getting free breakfast school. That would never have happened if it wasn't for the Black Panther Party.
No,
The fact that they impacted so much that it's a part of our society, embedded into our laws
yeah,
of the programs that they've done.
yeah,
It's undeniable. And America owes the Black
yeah,
Panther Party for being more moralistic.
yeah, for
Because what
sure.
before that was what, USID?
Yeah.
Before that,
It was what?
USID,
USIB. What's that?
USAID,
Oh, no, yeah.
the pseudo
Um,
CIA with the Peace
yeah,
Corps and everything.
yeah, yeah. And one of the things that's not talked about enough is the free clinics that they started.
Right.
Um, when I was in San Francisco in the '80s, they still had free clinics out there. You know, anybody could walk in off the street, no insurance, no nothing.
Wait, they were the starter of free clinics as well
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah,
There was
yeah.
no free clinics before.
No free clinics. They got the doctors. They found doctors that were willing to man those places, and they started them up in the neighborhoods, in the
Mm,
ghettos, and they carried on. Now you see them, in San Francisco. I don't know. I haven't been there since the '80s, but
right.
um, I don't know if they're still operating, but they were there when I was there in the '80s.
Mm, mm. That's amazing, because now there's a lot of black entrepreneurs and rappers who have not even just rappers, just sports in general, athletes, Michael Jordan himself opened up free clinics all around. So I wonder if he learned that from the Black Panther Party. He has free clinics all over impoverished neighborhoods in his region, in North Carolina, I believe,
Oh,
in
yeah.
other states. Um,
Hmm.
so it's like that's beautiful knowing that that's a thing that showing how beautiful Black History Month is.
Right.
That Black people
Exactly.
organized were able to create the free clinics.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And Black people today in all different tax brackets still are pro free clinics.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
I don't know who would be against free clinics, honestly. Besides who the oligarchs,
besides pharmaceutical companies and
right?
and doctors and yeah.
Yep.
I guess most doctors would be on board with that, but you know, some would not. I'm sure. Yeah.
And how can we, how can after everything that we learned from the Black Panther Party, especially here in New Haven, and how historic and important they were to to this country, like how do you think we can set that fire back? Because do you think that we are already set the ground for a new revolution here? Um, is there do you have optimism with
Yeah,
this
of
Trump?
course. Yeah.
Yeah,
I see it. I see it every day. You see it every day. You see how desperate the Trump administration is getting. Right. Um, I'm doing a talk tomorrow, and I wrote a paper about it. Uh, how weakened the Trump administration is, but also how desperate they are as to because they figured that they only got another year or two until midterms.
yeah,
Because after midterms, they're not going to be able to get away with the stuff they're doing right now. So they got
right,
like until then to enact all these things. There, turn back the civil rights movement. Suppress voter registrations. Um, all these things that they want to do. They got a short period of time to do it. So it's going to get really crazy, even more crazy than it is today, which is
yeah,
hard to believe. Um,
yeah,
in the next year and a half or 2 years, I don't know when's the midterms are in 26, 27 or 26, 26. Yeah, in November. Um,
yeah,
yeah, so um, they don't, they don't think they're going to win any of the midterms. Everybody, even in the Republican Party, there's division uh, as to whether they're gonna support Trump any longer. And Trump himself says if the Democrats win, I'll be impeached. So
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
And you see that and you see as well too that like there are people that are now we don't know if they're real as the Black Panther Party, but they are claiming to be a part of the Black Panther Party, and they are in the streets, militant, strapped,
yeah,
um, protecting people from ICE. One group in Philly, they had to rename themselves to the Black
yeah,
Lions because there was issues with Huey P. Newton's niece. Um, so there's new parties being branched out that are that strong revolutionary militant ideal, which is so important
yeah,
because it's very well received by people of color, very very well received,
yeah,
especially Black people. A lot, it's helping people wake up more.
yeah. And that the new Black Panther, Black
Yeah,
Lions. Um,
yeah,
they adhere to the 10-point program of the Black Panther Party. You
right,
know, they took that on as their tenants, how they're going to run their party. So like I said, the truth is it brings people in. When you start telling the truth, and people see that um, in the contrast to the lies of the administration, they can tell the truth between those lies, and they get attracted to that. So,
Right.
um, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I believe a revolution it has to happen. Not that it can happen or what, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Um, I don't know if it'd be in my lifetime. I'm getting old, so, so I don't know if I'll see it, but I've been trying to build it for the last 20 years. Um, you know, and hopefully it'll be something that happens so that my grandkids can enjoy that, living under socialism. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And the one thing about the Black Panthers is how they, you know, passed out Miles' book at universities with their
right.
newspapers
Yeah,
and
that's how
everything.
they started. That's how they
Right.
raised enough money to get started. Huey and
Yep.
Bobby went to campuses and passed and sold Mao's Little Red Book for $1 or something. Not even, probably
Ain't,
50 cents. Yeah,
ain't no telling how many socialists were born that day
yeah,
or that era.
yeah. Well,
Just off of that book.
look at the groups. Look at the groups that followed them. The Brown Berets. American Indian Movement. Um,
Yep.
you know,
There was also White Panthers.
White Panthers. Yeah,
Yep.
that's who Fred
The
was
Young
talking to. The
Lords.
White Yeah, Young Lords. No, yeah, the White
And
Panthers.
they're
That's
back.
who.
We
Huh?
got a new era Young Lords here in Bridgeport chapter. Shouts out to the
Yeah,
Young Lords of Bridgeport.
yeah,
Subi.
yeah.
Um,
They, yeah, they need to adopt that program though. They don't have a specific program what they plan on doing, those young lords, unfortunately. But they know that they need to fight back, and that's what they're
mhm.
doing. Yeah.
Yep.
And
But yes.
education was very important under the Black Panther Party.
Yep. That's
Not
what
only did they,
Songbird.
yeah,
That's what Songbird said in his speech when he talked about the Black Lions. He said, "We need educators. We're going to bring
yeah,
in education
yeah.
24/7."
I mean, not only did they feed those kids before they went to school, they taught them too. You know, they were teaching them also, in either before or after school.
Right.
So,
Did they start after school program? I know there was after school program already, right?
yeah, I think there were, but they weren't run like the Black Panther Party. No, they weren't learning about a revolution.
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
No, I went to poetry club for my after school program.
yeah, they didn't teach you no revolution about
Yeah,
it.
no. Well, look, I had lefty poetry instructors, so I still got some type of good black radicalness.
Okay,
And
yeah,
it definitely went to my poetry.
yeah,
Definitely can say that. That's what luck. It could have been anybody else running the poetry club.
yeah.
Ugh. All right, Norm. Hold on. Yeah. So I think it's really, really good that we talk about what's going on locally, to encourage people to be like, hey, this city is also revolutionary as well too. Because there's a lot you don't learn about your hometowns or your local wherever you just currently live at. You want to
Yeah,
organize, but it'll help if you learn what was revolutionary at these parts as well too.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Um,
What part of California you're from again?
I'm not from there. I was born here.
Oh, okay.
I
You
went to California. I went to
Yeah, yeah.
California in 1969. As soon as I got out of high school, I did not want to go into Vietnam like
Mm,
like all of my friends did. You know, I one of my mentors was Muhammad Ali, Muhammad
Right.
Ali said, "Why should I go halfway around the world to kill those people when my fight is right here in the United States?" You know, um, they
And
don't.
he
So
lost
they
3
don't,
years of his career for that.
and
Worth this,
tons of money
right?
too.
Yep.
Yeah. Um,
It's a huge
but,
sacrifice.
huge sacrifice. Yeah. Um, and who knows what he would have done in those 3 years, because that was his prime. He
Right.
came back. He was a little bit slower, a little bit. He struggled a little bit. He won his title back twice after that, but it was never the same. You know.
Mm.
But when he said that, those Vietnamese people, they don't call me the N word. Why should I go kill them? So
Yep. And that resonated because that's exactly what people were coming back to. And,
yeah,
and Trump didn't go neither. None of them went.
yeah,
None of those Richies.
yeah,
And then they got the
yeah.
nerve
None
to
of them
talk
went.
junk about us.
They don't go. They don't go and get killed. Those elites.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very much sad.
So yeah, for me, that was my first dive into resistance. So I resisted the draft and went to California. Um, I took I faked my hearing test, uh, and and then they sent me 4 or 5 more times to take a hearing test, and I faked it so well that it came out. It came out the exact same thing every time they took it. So yeah, I went to California. When I went to California, uh, I was helping the Native Americans that were on Alcatraz at the time. I was raising food and things for them in the city. Bring it down to the it's called the Indian Affairs Office, and they would
Right.
ship it around out. Yeah.
I think that's really dope. We got to have an episode where we talk about your advocacy because you've seen a lot.
Yeah, I've seen a lot.
That's what
Yeah.
we need a part 2.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you get old. Yeah, you get a lot of experience being old.
Yeah, I mean, the Dapple Pipeline was when I first met you. You were just coming back from North Dakota.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking about going out there again to Minneapolis. They got a camp out there at the ICE facility. Um, Native Americans got teepees up, and they're trying to do a whole sit-in at
Mm,
one of the ICE facilities because it's on their reservation.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Jesse Jackson, he was also a huge advocate as well too for making sure that he was standing in solidarity with Palestinians, Native Americans, and
yeah,
all oppressed groups of the world. He was very,
yeah,
very active as being around that.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, he was a leader, and he started a Rainbow Coalition. That's why.
Yeah,
That's
part
why he
2.
did. Yeah, part two. That's why he didn't become president. They shut they shut that stuff down. Quickly.
That broke the Democratic.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't want to hear that. People getting together. No, 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 no.
Like, of course, the Republicans were mad, but like, Jesus, that broke the Democratic Party. They were just like, "Oh, hell no, we're not letting this guy in." And
Yeah,
he had a pretty successful second term. He got a huge, large amount of votes. Last term, he was third place in the primaries. He had a
yeah,
pretty good
yeah,
run. It
yeah.
was not
He
bad.
had a lot of support. Uh, yeah. So as far as what I do now, um, I joined the PSL 18 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, and we have this almost the same exact program that the Black Panther Party has. It doesn't differ too much. Maybe we added, climate justice,
Right.
maybe a couple of things like that. But you know, free healthcare, free housing, free education. Those are all the things.
All Black Panther values.
All that, yeah, that we still fight for. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I am optimistic. It's hard to stay that way sometimes when you see the power that the billionaire class has. You look at it and say, "Wow, how the hell are we gonna ever defeat that?" But there's a lot of cracks. There's a lot of cracks happening. They're even fighting amongst themselves these days. So, and that's
Yep.
going to continue. That's going to continue because the people are not going to put up with it anymore. There's a lot of righteous anger out here. And when when people see that they have an unlimited supply of money to spend on war, killing people around the world, and we don't have healthcare, we don't have education. I think Palestine was a tipping point for a lot of people.
Right.
Because you look at Israel and they got free education and they got free healthcare, and we're funding it. So so people look at that and say, well, what is going on?
Right.
How does this happen? So there's a lot of things to look forward to. There's a lot of things to be optimistic about. What they did in Minnesota, they turned back a invasion of ICE agents, right? 3,000 ICE agents went to Minnesota, and they had to leave. They were forced to leave. So, people see that power. They see they have that power. They're going to start using it more and more.
Yep. And Trump is just throwing whatever he can at the wall.
Yeah.
Just trying to see whatever sticks. So that's why people I stay resilient.
Oh yeah.
So he's like no to everything.
When he threw at the wall today, he's going to release the alien files.
Yeah.
Like outer space.
Distractions.
Nobody gives a shit about that. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
You
no
haven't
one's
released the
about that right
Epstein
now.
files yet. You haven't or he's going, he also said he's going to bomb Iran within 10 days today.
Yeah. Yep. Tomorrow's Saturday.
Yeah.
That's the deadline, he said. Well, let's just hope that just does not happen. Let's just hope. Because he's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Norm, my friend, let me let you go, bro. Because you had a long day.
Yeah, I did.
We're going to have to get you back on here. We're going to have to make a part 2. Thank you so much for coming on.
Okay.
This was a really, really good and informative. So for the people, by the time the people see this, it's going to be Sunday. So happy Sunday. And have a very, very nice, restful Sunday, and get ready for the revolution on Monday.
I get Monday off too. So I get a 3-day weekend every week. So. But yeah, I'm still working, Jamar. It's like I'm 75, going on 76 years old soon, and I work because I'm working with people that are homeless, unhoused, and I see the misery and torment that they go through on a daily basis, and a little bit that I can do to try and help them, fills my heart. So, that's why I do it.
Thank you for that, Norm.
Yeah,
it's important.
All right, my friend. Have a good night.
All right, I'll see you.
All right.
Have a good night. To everybody out there in the airways, have a good night too.
Yeah. All right.
Blank period, yeah. On my black, brown, and indigenous. Gotta holler if you really feeling this. Gotta holler if you really real enough. Other rappers is delirious. Yeah, it's really that serious. Better holler if you really feeling me. I gotta keep it 100, ayy. If you don't like it, then fuck it, ayy. We gonna win in the end, yeah, we gonna live in abundance. I gotta keep it 100, ayy. If you don't like it, then fuck it, ayy. We gonna win in the end, yeah, we gonna. I gotta keep it 100. We gotta stop all the stunting. You know we coming from nothing. Yo, you talking about money, you bluffing. We gotta do something different. We gotta change how we live in. We gotta do better for women. We gotta do better for children. We gotta listen to victims, whether Jewish or Muslim or Christian. It doesn't matter your religion. You gotta stand against the system, or else you just another villain. How you just sitting there chilling?